I'm in the land of hobbits, mythical birds, and statistic-defying rugby teams. But the fairy tale of Aotearoa doesn't end there. Somewhere between crystal-clear Pacific and bubbling volcanoes are an unreasonable number of mind-blowing golf courses. From affordable loops to once-in-a-lifetime experiences, this tiny country is slowly turning itself into the world's greatest golf destination. It's time to explore it. Welcome to Off Track New Zealand. It's gonna sound great. Here's me as a kid, golf mad before I could even spell the word. That love affair turned into an unwavering desire to make it in the big leagues. I tried my butt off, and I actually got pretty good. But like all good things, they come to an end. A few years ago, I swapped the meticulous tracking of stats and scores for adventures to parts unknown to play golf courses far from the well-trodden path. It's time to wander off the beaten track. We've arrived on New Zealand's North Island, or as it's known in Maori, Te Ika a Maui. Golf was first played in this country in 1871, arriving with the Scottish settlers who landed near Dunedin. Since then, its passion for the game has placed it second on the global leaderboard for golf courses per capita, with almost 400 spread across the land. Today, New Zealand's courses fill the front pages of golf magazines, but that wasn't always the case. Back in 1995, superstar Wall Street trader Julian Robertson took a gamble and purchased a working sheep farm draped along the cliff tops of Matori Bay. Almost 5 years later, Kauri Cliffs swung open its gates, gliding onto World Top 100 lists and ushering in not just golfing pilgrims from around the world, but a new era of destination golf. The New Zealand North Island adventure begins here at Kauri Cliffs, one of the most northerly golf courses in the country. The back nine is set to take our breath away. New Zealand might be a dot on the edge of the global map, but its jagged edges of cliff tops and coves mean it has the 10th longest coastline of any country in the world, which means plenty of space for some epic loops. Looking out across the South Pacific, the country's unprecedented golf boom is starting to make a little more sense. Coming from the States, what do you think it is about golf in New Zealand that is so special?
When you fly in and you land in New Zealand, it is so green that you're like, is that a golf course? Is that a golf course? And you just see, like, especially here, we have these long, like, finger extensions of land, these ridge lines, and it just looks like everything could be a fairway, right?
Yeah.
When you think of it as a canvas, I don't think you can mess it up.
I don't know how much you know about the sort of history of the course, but from my understanding, it's in part still an active farm.
They found this property over 6,000 acres, right? So the golf course only occupies a couple hundred acres in this area. You know, originally it was just an operational farm with your cattle and your sheep, and there was also pine trees that were being planted for harvesting. The property has always been very keen on conservation, regeneration, the heart and the mindset of the people that are looking to protect it and then like keep it going for the next generation. You know, then it becomes even more special, right?
We've arrived at the 15th green at Kauri Cliffs, probably the most beautiful point on the entire site. Pacific Ocean all around, islands dotted in the blue water. If you were to draw up a picture of paradise, it would look like that. Round one of the New Zealand adventure is complete. I'm worried that we might have started off a little bit hot here at Kauri Cliffs. This golf course is absolutely spectacular, but on to the next. World-class golf is a recent addition here, but this land hums with a history that runs far deeper. Just a few miles south sits one of the most significant towns in the country's history. Back in the 13th century, guided by the stars and ocean currents, ancient Polynesian tribes became the first humans to land on these shores, eventually establishing a distinct Maori culture. Over 500 years later, the British arrived, but chaos followed. Decades of conflict were put to rest in 1840 when the Treaty of Waitangi was signed between the British Crown and over 500 Maori chiefs. The fighting stopped, but its intricacies cause disagreement to this day. Thankfully, just across the fence from that historic site lies common ground. Round 2 of our adventure takes us to Waitangi Golf Club. Built on a historic piece of land, it looks over the Bay of Islands. We're going to have a game with the head pro. Let's see what he's got. By chance, our host was playing just a few groups behind us at Kauri Cliffs this morning, where he carded a smooth 63, but it turns out he's claimed an impressive golfing accolade at a later stop on our trip. Peter, do you mind saying what you said about potentially having the course record at Awapuni?
Not potentially, I do. Well, last time I checked, so it was in a Pro-Am, geez, it's got to be 2013, 14, 15, something like that.
Wow.
Electronet Pro-Am in Gisborne at Poverty Bay Golf Club.
Nice.
Yep, and I think it was, I bogeyed the last for 8 under from memory.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we're...
I looked at the camera again.
That's fine. You can when you bogey the last for 8 under, you can look straight down the barrel of the lens. We're heading to Gisborne to Awapuni Links in a few days' time, so we'll be checking if that scorecard is up in the clubhouse. This golf course was a gift in the truest sense. The land was donated to the town by Lord and Lady Bledisloe back in the 1930s with a simple instruction: encourage people to get outside. Golf, already in the fabric of the region, was the obvious choice to fulfill their wish. In the almost 100 years since, the club has made a relentless effort to improve its layout. Nowhere are those efforts more clear than on its signature hole.
Par 5, all the way down, gradually right to left, 499 metres. I think it's one of the most picturesque holes in New Zealand. The furthest most green tree you can see, that's where the green is, so it's just left of that. So yeah.
What are those rocks in the...
So one's called 9-pin and the other ones are just rocks. So yeah, if you get a full tide and...
This place isn't Kauri Cliffs. It's not trying to be. But one thing that is extremely pleasant here at Waitangi is that it's 6:30 p.m. We've literally got the golf course to ourselves. Beautiful evening overlooking the South Pacific, all for $80. Not bad.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers, yeah, thanks for
And
showing
most
me around.
welcome anytime.
I didn't expect to travel to the other end of the earth and get such a strong reminder of home, but there's an undeniable feeling of Scotland here. In 1843, Reverend Norman MacLeod made the 12,000-mile journey from the rural Scottish town of Ullapool to Auckland. Alongside fellow Scots, they eventually settled here in Waipu and brought with them their Alba traditions. The Waipu Highland Games take place every year just a few miles south in Caledonian Park and mark one of the oldest Scottish traditions in the Southern Hemisphere. But it's not just caber tossing and bagpipe bellowing that they brought to these shores. We've arrived at Waipu Golf Club, an 18-holer in the dunes next to Bream Bay. The sun's just risen over Tauranga Island in the distance. Looking across the course is taking me back to the links of Scotland. The greens are really pure, everything else is like a little bit rough around the edges and it's got this real character to it, so much definition, tiny little undulations all over the course. I think this might be my favourite golf course so far. Few feelings compare to stumbling across a golf course by the sea, handing over the spare change in your back pocket and wandering onto empty dew-soaked fairways. If bucket list tracks are a rock and roll concert, then places like Waipu are an acoustic lullaby, where the price of admittance is an appetite for adventure.
We're still considered a public golf course. You know, we're a not-for-profit organisation, a cooperative. There's a real strong core of of members here. So many of them volunteer their time. In fact, even people that don't play golf contributed because they saw the value of Waipu Golf Club to the community.
You'd mentioned being on this list of 4 golf courses, some of which are, you know, the best on paper in the whole country. That's esteemed company to be in.
Well, we were just listed recently in the Australasian Golf Top 25. And I think that's pretty good, because if we look at the clubs below us, their subscriptions in some cases are 5, 6 times more than us, but they don't have this. They do not have this view. For value for money, nobody can beat this.
18 holes at Waipu complete. I could not recommend that enough. If the fires of Top 100 golf in New Zealand were lit at Kauri Cliffs, then it was the masterpieces of Mangawhai that were next to be handed the torch. Back in 2015, Tom Doak completed his final brushstroke at the ambitious Tara Iti, and 2 years later, the course debuted at number 6 on the World Top 100 list, the highest debut ranking in history. The lore of Tara Iti grew and eventually turned fully private, but one thing was clear: golf in this utopian corner of the world was in high demand. 6 years later, Arai Links was unveiled to the world, and that's where we are. Complete with 2 jaw-dropping layouts, stylish homes, world-class food, and tour-level facilities, the development remains the archetype for what destination golf can be. But for all of its grandeur, this isn't a place for double-breasted blazers and upturned noses, a notion confirmed by the 2-acre putting green at the core of the site. We've arrived at Arai Links, first order of business. A quick round on what is apparently the biggest putting green in the world. I've got my refreshment in hand. Let's get to it. Arai and the sister course at Tara Iti are the courses that put New Zealand on the golf map for me. We're about to head out and I'm very excited. Just along the coastline from the north course at Arai Links is Arai Point. In Maori tradition, it's said to be the lift-off point between heaven and earth. Fergus and I went to university together all the way back in Scotland, and now we've crossed paths again here at Arai Links. He's come all the way across the world to work for a couple of years at this incredible golf course, which has to say something.
So this entire piece of property, this just used to be a pine forest. You can obviously see the thousands of pine trees around me before they dug up the earth and moved everything. But the one thing they left was these old wooden fences that you will see scattered around the golf course. It's just something they left sort of as a memory from when they actually created Arai Links. Oh, that was a bit spicy.
Go in, go in. I know that Tom Doak's courses often get a bit of stick for being too tricked up, but if I could play one style of course for the rest of my life, it would be something like this. Just crazy undulations on greens, so many different options for clubs off tees and approach shots. It just never gets boring, this style of golf. Oh my God, that's actually done pretty well.
It's in a sandy grace.
18 holes of roller coaster golf at Arai Links. I don't think you can have more fun on a golf course than that.
Wā papa te whachitiri rapa te uira. Kapakapa tū ana te rangi e iri iho nei. Wō tērā te haiata tākiri ana mai ki runga i o he kurangi. Wā uhitai e. Wā e uhitai tana koa. I te reka o tō mahina. Uhitai e. Ako hikurangi te maunga Waiapu te awa. Prorangi. So that was all about calling in the dawn, and in particular calling in the sun as the sun rises. And then you've got the sky above, Mother Earth below, and we're in the middle. People will pass, that's natural attrition. But as soon as night follows day, we'll have a river of life and light. Kia ora tātou.
We've arrived in Gisborne, officially the most easterly town on the planet, for some respite from the rolling fairways. Piripi's sun-summoning ritual is most appropriate here because standing on this beach at 6 a.m. makes us the first people in the entire world to see today's sunrise. But it's not just humans who flock to bask in the morning light.
Here in Tatapuri Bay on the Gisborne coast, the stingrays gather in the shallows. We're going to say hello to them now.
Come here, pancake. Good girl. Come here. My voice vibration underneath. That's why they are mucking around beside me, because they trust my voice vibration and also of my heartbeat. They're picking up those vibrations about a 500 meter away, 1,000 meter away, and they're coming to cross to us.
So some of these rays are 20 plus years old.
Yeah. Our largest one is Tara. Tara is 2.6 meter wide, 70 cent thick. She's very, very heavy, over 300 kilo. And she loves to give you the cuddle and the push over.
300 kilos.
Everybody thinks that the stingray is a dangerous species, but they're really friendly. Long as we calm, they're calm.
Of course, this town of early birds needs a place to enjoy their morning rounds. The fairways of Gisborne's local course, by default, are the first in the world to be graced with the sunrise every day. We've been beaten to the tee this morning by more ardent golfers. Thankfully, my new local friends have something to cheer me up.
We've got a little something for you, just to commemorate you being here. This gift is a Pounamu gift. It's called a toki. It symbolises strength, it symbolises tenacity. So, on behalf of us, we'd like to present this to you.
Kind of you. Wow.
Yeah. And there you go.
It goes with my outfit. Did you plan
It does,
that?
yeah.
Whilst overshadowed in grandeur by its modern counterparts, Awapuni Links serves a crucial role in serving the local golf community. Even at the ends of the earth, people are catching the bug.
So, Roo, do you mind telling us a little bit about what you're trying to do at Golf New Zealand?
Essentially, we're just trying to get the game out there to as many people as we can. So we're teaching all sorts of kids. We've got good women's programs happening. We just want to make sure that the game is available for all sorts of kids, regardless of where they are, where they're from, what they've been through. We've had a big increase in golf over the last 3 years in New Zealand. Participation-wise, I think we're at 175,000. So there's a lot of interest in the game, and we're just capitalising on that. Easy game.
In 1769, just a mile along the coast, Captain Cook's HMS Endeavour drew into Kaiti Beach, marking the first interaction between the British and the native Maoris. Conflict broke out, but eventually Cook settled. Underwhelmed with the land's offerings, he brandished it Poverty Bay. Centuries later, the golf club took on the name, but a passionate group of members were eager to retain the area's original Maori title.
So, Rhys, you are a proud committee member here at Awapuni Links, and from what I gather, you played a key role, it might be fair to say, in getting the name changed back to its original.
I would say I was one of a few people who were keen to see the original name reinstated, but we're not steering away from Poverty Bay Golf Club. We're very much embracing that, but it's just a nod to our Links name.
It was done on the 125th anniversary, is that right?
That's right, it's the 133rd year of the club, so it's an old and proud club, and we haven't got deep pockets, but we punch well above our weight, and there's a lot of quirks and there's a lot of charm, but it's the old girl endures and it keeps bringing people back, and right now it's thriving.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks, Rhys. Thanks for having me. We've managed to source Peter from Waitangi's course record here at Awapuni Links. Good to know he was telling the truth. 64, 8 under par, not a bad knock.
Our final day takes us to the very centre of the North Island towards the shimmering blue of New Zealand's largest lake. But don't let the tranquility of Lake Taupo fool you. 200 metres below its surface, rumbles one of the most frequently active volcanic sites in the world. This island's precarious position on the Pacific Ring of Fire might be fraught with danger, but its volatility has sculpted these otherworldly landscapes. Nestled by the lake is a golf course designed by the Golden Bear that takes full advantage of this interstellar terrain. We've arrived at Kinloch on the shores of Lake Taupo. Apparently this is the hardest golf course in all of New Zealand. I've been shelling my golf balls into some interesting places since we arrived, so you might see me poking some 4-irons down the middle of the fairways. It's not just the golfing arenas that are evolving in New Zealand, the attitudes and desires of the players are shifting too. Very nice. One cutting-edge brand is equipped to usher this new wave of golfer onto the fairways. Jacob, golf is obviously booming in New Zealand. I guess you're more at like the cultural forefront of that boom. How have you seen golf change in the last 5-10 years?
New Zealand, it's an economy of travel golfers, so I think New Zealand is one of the best places in the world to play right now, and you're seeing that with the amount of courses that are appearing. We see it getting a bit younger, we see it getting modernised. That generation of people want to look cool and feel good about themselves when they play golf, and I think we're really betting on that space, and hopefully we're a brand that can grow with those golfers for their life.
Yeah, awesome. In a land of just unbelievable depth of golf, what do you think is special about this place?
Oh, Jack Nicklaus. It's the only Jack Nicklaus in the land, and you can see his twist on just about every hole. Everybody that comes here and wants to tick that box, that's what they've come for, that unique experience that is Jack Nicklaus. It's not impossible to play, but you have to play to your tee box.
It's so visually spectacular that you don't want to get too frustrated, like you want to be able to enjoy what's around you. And
people do come off like that, but they're smiling.
Great putt.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Thanks, dude. Cheers. New Zealand was the last major landmass on Earth to be discovered by humans. Escaping industrial development for several centuries longer than its neighbours has produced an almost Jurassic Park-like ecosystem. From three-eyed lizards to their beloved flightless birds, countless species of plants, animals and insects can only be found here. Just a few miles down the road is a course blending golf and conservation like no other in the world. We've arrived at Wairakei Golf Sanctuary, our final stop of the New Zealand adventure. The golf course is actually a gated animal reserve, which we need to pass through in order to get to the first tee. Our first wildlife sighting at Wairakei, and we've not even made it to the first tee. I'm sure we'll see more exciting things. Sorry to say that in front of them, but I think we will. I feel like David Attenborough right now. Apparently there are about 33 fallow deer that just roam the golf course. And there's one of them. I wasn't expecting to come to another golf course and be as entertained as I have been in the last hour and a half or so. What's going on here?
Well, I mean, it's a passion by the owner. He bought this 26 years ago, and 12 years ago he wanted to go down the ecology field. So he built a predator fence right around the outside, which is 5.5 kilometres long. We initially took in a pair of retired takahe that were just put here to see their life out. They were a very, very rare bird in New Zealand. It was only back in 1928 that they thought they were extinct. We've now got some breeding pairs, and we've got 14 in total on the property.
It feels like playing golf in a zoo, but in the best sense because it's all natural.
We've got a kookaburra here, and we've got some on the course. I've never seen one running around the course, but my boss tells me it's the only sanctuary in the world inside a golf course. So,
well,
I presume he's correct.
Yeah, I think he is. don't think there's anywhere else in the world, maybe Scotland, where you can play such a crazy variety of golf in such a small area. We've played sunrise rounds near the beach for $80 at Waipu, and we've played 2 of top 100 golf courses in the world. I don't think I've ever been on a golf trip where I've been so relentlessly delighted with what's been presented to me at each golf course. With the ambition of all these exciting projects underway, despite the density of golf that's available here, I just think I'll be coming back for years to come.
Ko rangi nui ki runga ko papa tua nuku ki raro. Ka mate ai te tangata ka pō, ka o te tihei, mauri ora.